Prepare yourself.
Okay, let's go.
Where common sense fails. Again. The Extra Show. With your hosts, Chris and Steve.
Hey, we are back again. How you doing, Steve?
I love that intro. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
We love the intro. Listen to him. How's your week been?
Really good. Really good. We have been exploring options for the expansion of the content room, which is exciting. Just literally 5 minutes prior to this podcast, we looked at a unit, which is stoked some food for thought, let's say.
It did. You know what? So I've really been working with Steve for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. And the guy, I should plus your big ideas jingle, because the guy's got massive ideas. And he says to me, he says, Chris, do you want to come over and just have a look at this unit? I'm like, whoa, okay. And we go over, and there's this unit, 20 steps away from where the content room is currently, which you share.
Yeah.
This unit you have at the moment, you share with the Transform Hub.
Yeah, so we basically kind of took over the whole mezzanine upstairs.
Yeah. And so we went over, had a look at it. It's empty, right? So it's a complete blank canvas.
Literally.
And it's exciting. And I thought what was really good. I don't know the guy next door. Yeah, I think you know him.
Right. I don't want to sound rude saying this.
Yeah.
But you know when someone recognises you, but you can't quite place who it is.
One of those.
One of them. So he said hello to me, perfectly nice guy. He showed us his own unit next door.
Yeah.
Which again stoked a lot of food for thought. But I just couldn't place him.
No, I thought it was brilliant. So the guy next door is a bedroom space.
Yeah.
And so he said, look, guys, we've got exactly the same size unit, but we've had it kitted out. And you go in there and they've got 3 rooms all kitted out. It looks amazing. They've turned upstairs into they've created a false floor.
Yeah.
So that you make use of that. It's a bit tight up there. But yeah, it's food for thought, right? It gives you a great idea. So the content room could have, a nice reception room, a couple of recording rooms, soundproofed, one for video, one for audio maybe.
Definitely.
And upstairs doing sort of post-production.
You could even have like a little photography setup in there.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Room for plenty of coffee.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. An absolute necessity in a place like that, coffee and
Absolutely.
biscuits.
Well, when I used to have my own business, we and shout out to Gavin, bless him, because I used to joke about SAF bucks. So my name's Chris Saffel. I used to sit there and go, do you know what? I'd love to have my own little SAF bucks, right? And we got in touch with my marketing company, and we got a new office, and we basically had a little quarter section, and he had a sign built called SAF bucks, right, in like 3D lettering. And so when you walked into the office, he had this whole section. It was just SAF bucks. It just looked like Starbucks, but SAF bucks, and logo, cups, and everything else. And yeah, it was brilliant. So I used to have this policy when I had my own business, where I would say to them, "You've always got to have a break, right? Get up, walk around, whatever it might be." But I had this little coffee area because I didn't want people taking coffee to the desks, right? Yeah, you see it all the time. People eat and drink from their desk. No, get them away from that, right? And so they purposely had to go to SAF bucks. They were like 3 steps away from their desk, right? But it was like, high chairs in there and everything else. It just made them go, I'm having a break from work, right? And have a coffee, have a chat, 20 minutes, and then crack on again.
Love it.
It was just one of those it's like a little psychological thing, right? Where you feel you're having a bit of a break.
For sure.
So no, great idea there, Steve. Having that place, it's got a lot of potential.
It's got a lot of potential. It's bigger than the room we're in now by, I'd say, probably double. And definitely seeing next door and what they've done to it has given me a lot of food for thought, because it would give us options in terms of different rooms and different setups.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing you need to work out now, of course, is costs.
That's it.
Because that's always the killer in businesses, right?
100%.
Is when costs run away with stuff. So I guess, and the other thing, of course, is new customers. Shout out to anyone that wants some sort of social media stuff done. Get in touch with Steve.
Yeah. If you are a Wirral, Cheshire or Merseyside based business owner, or you have an idea, or a consultant or a coach and you want to create some content around your ideas, we are here.
Hey, and do you know what though? Don't just limit it to that. I mean, Funky Bear used to do a podcast with the guys over in Spain, right? So I used to do remote recordings with people out in Spain. So I guess it's more difficult if you're shooting video outside the area, but from an audio perspective, you could be anywhere.
We're unlimited, yeah. Absolutely.
So we do anything with that.
I suppose the only limitation on audio will be sort of time differences in countries, maybe. Yeah. If you were far enough away, you might be in the middle of the night when someone's recording, in the middle of the day, etc. But all things that can be overcome.
We can do it.
Yeah.
Turn your hand to it. And apart from that, anything else happened during the week?
No, do have some common sense failures.
We'll comment those in a second. I have got a little bit of a follow-up, which I'm a little bit excited about. I don't know if I mentioned it to you last week, but on Saturday, I went to the live recording of a podcast over in Llandudno in North Wales with a guy called Gareth Jones. And his podcast called Gareth Jones on Speed. And it was his 20th year of doing it. So he was doing podcasts when it was like an RSS feed, back in the, 20 years ago. And so he did a live recording about cars and he's a bit of a rock guy as well, because he used to be the roadie for the Alarm. And then he became a TV presenter. So he was a TV presenter on a show called Get Fresh in the 80s. It was like a kids' Saturday morning TV show. He was known as Gaz Top at the time. He did that, and then he became a presenter on How. Remember that program? How? And he used to ask, how do you do this? So he became a presenter in that in the 90s. And I think, he's just gone off and done all these kind of things. So I reached out to him after I had to leave early when he was playing his gig, because a friend I was with, long story, but anyway, we had to leave early. So I just dropped him an email and just went, Gareth, I was hoping to catch up with you afterwards. Blah, blah, blah. We've got some synergy and I want to talk to you about your podcast. And I really wanted to just delve into how he's made a podcast successful for 20 years.
20 years?
20 years, and he's still top of the charts.
Did you learn a lot by watching it live?
Only that I could do it.
Yeah.
So
sometimes all you need is that confirmation now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and again, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, right? And I loved it because of this. It wasn't well rehearsed, right? So it wasn't slick. Sorry, Gareth, but that made it even more fun, right? So it just made me realize that I could do this.
Love it.
Anyone that's out there, maybe wants to have us on site, we'll do it. We'll do it live. We'll do the show live from your offices, right? Especially if you're a coffee house. We'll supply the coffee. We'll come and do it. So he reached out on Wednesday. I was gutted. So he reached out on Wednesday. Said, Chris, I've just picked up your email. Blah, blah, blah. I'm in Conway tonight. Do you want to come up for a beer? And I was like, I picked it up at about 5:30, 6 o'clock because I've been recording in Liverpool. I was like, oh man, I can't. Really sorry. And so he's like, it was a bit of a long shot, but hopefully watch this space and we could do some collab with him and take it from there. You never know.
Absolutely never know.
We might, hey Gareth, we might turn you into, we'll get Steve involved and turn it into a video podcast and not just audio.
For sure.
So that's what happened then. And what else has happened during the week? I guess just busy doing recordings, that kind of stuff. I'm off to Spain on the 4th. So I'm going to go there for a couple of weeks.
Not envious one there.
Well, I'm going to the Bear Pit, as I call it. It's my Bear Pit studio over in Spain.
Nice.
That's my excuse. It's just a spare room. It's the spare bedroom in the place in Spain. I'm just going there for a bit of heat. I'm not sure it's a wise decision because the temperatures are like 42 degrees.
Really?
So it'll be too hot. Too hot to go out and actually do anything. So I'll just be sitting in the house with the aircon on probably, going, too hot to do anything.
Just being in a different set now helps.
But yeah, so that's what I've got planned. At the weekend, nothing too exciting. What was I going to be doing? I thought I was going to be doing something, but no, that's about it. So, but I do have a a common sense failure. I think this show was named after me, actually, because I do have one common sense failure. So should we jump into it?
Of course.
It's that time of the show where common sense fails.
You know what? You could, like I said, I could have a show based on all of my common sense failures. I mean, it's just, what can I say? So this week, and I don't want to sound unprofessional, everybody, but I'm not that bad. I think it's just an age thing. But I've got a new idea for a podcast, and I mentioned it to Steve last week, and I might mention it on the show. And it was going to be around just going to coffee shops and just doing like little reviews of coffee shops, going in, because I spend a lot of time in coffee shops, everybody. So I thought, well, why not turn it into a bit of a show? Because I can't find anything that has, recommended coffee shops in the Northwest, right? So I went to a place on Sunday last week, and I thought, hey, I've never been here. It's on Lark Lane, and it's called Crosby Coffee, and it had a great vibe, wasn't very big. And I just thought, you know what? I'd love to record a podcast from here. And I had a quick chat with the manager, Kane. He was a great guy, right? Made me a great coffee. And I said, do you mind if I record a session? He went, yeah, absolutely. Come in, mic us up. We'll even do a little bit of a recording. I thought, brilliant, right? This is just what I need. He could be the first. So I got all my stuff ready. Right, I wasn't going to take the whole recording rigmarole like I've got here, Steve. I was going to take just my portable recording device, my remote mics, headphones, everything else. Got it all prepped. Thought, there you go, be organised, Chris. Put it all in the car. Drove all the way up to Lark Lane, found a place to park, and I thought, right, I'm going to mic myself up and walk so I can record myself walking from the car into the shop, place my order, and I will all be captured. So I start getting my mics on and everything else. And then I get my recording device. Now, I've got different remote mics than you, Steve. So I've got the Synco mics.
Nice.
G2, right? They're okay, right? I got them for price. But they don't have any internal recording. So I have to plug them into my, I've got a Tascam recording device. We're not getting too technical here, everybody. And I plug them into that, and then that records.
Nice.
From the mics, right? But the Tascam has a micro SD card. And I thought I'd be well prepared because I've got all my SD cards in a little case. I'm showing Steve this little case now. I thought, I'm well prepared just in case. I've got changeable batteries in case the batteries run out. I thought I'd got everything prepped. And I went to switch the Tascam on, and it's like no card. I went, no problems. I'll just flip open and get a SIM card. A micro SD card out of my little case. I have two cases, and they're exactly the same. And when I opened it up, they've all got micro SD cards in, but the one I'd picked up has 256 meg micro SD cards in. And when I plugged it into the Tascam, it went invalid format, right? Because what do you mean invalid format? It can only take 32. I'm like, oh, you idiot. They're in the other micro SD card case, which I'd left at home. So I travelled all that way over from the Wirral to Lark Lane, right? And forgot that. So I'd prepped myself. And so at the end, I couldn't actually go ahead with it. What a common sense failure. What an absolute idiot. So that was my common sense failure. What about you, Steve?
I've got two common sense failures. First being the lids on water bottles. So about, I don't know how long it was, probably about a year, 2 years maybe. The manufacturing of bottles do not allow the lids to come off anymore. And it's for recycling purposes. So litter doesn't go on the floor, people don't throw the bottle lids, things of that nature. However, I think there's a common sense failure here. Because if you have something like a milkshake or a protein shake or any form of milk, the liquid gets caught in the lid as you pull it off and ultimately goes all over the place.
Yes, you know what? I'm laughing here because I know exactly what he's talking about because I bet you've all been there as well.
And you really have to be careful because you might end up with chocolate milkshake down your chest like I did before.
Not before an interview.
Not before. Not before.
Then we can see what everything else.
Yeah, do not have chocolate milkshake before an interview or going somewhere well dressed. Especially when the lids are recyclable friendly, let's say. And then that got me thinking about a second common sense failure as I was actually paying for the stuff. So where we are in the concert room now is about, what's a stone's throw from an Asda. So I'm at the self-checkout in Asda. And I remember years ago, it was no self-checkouts. And it was all like you queued up with a trolley and the self-checkout person would check out your goods. Great. For cost-cutting purposes, they transferred everything to a self-checkout. But in doing so, they've caused utter chaos in the supermarkets at the checkouts. Now, not only is this cost-cutting exercise hampered like sort of people checking out because there's always a mistake at the self-checkouts where someone's got to come over and sort of correct the error. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the self-checkout people who stand there all day. One of them I know, and she was complaining about her legs being sore because she's standing there all day. She's not sitting, checking stuff out. So that's the second thing. And also, if you've got a big trolley shop full of food and you're trying to self-checkout in the space, there's not actually enough space to fit the trolley into because it's that's the thing. So by cost-cutting these things, I think sometimes these cost-cutting exercises kind of backfire in a way because it's made the user experience a lot less friendly to me.
Well, it's interesting because I've been reading over the last few months a number of supermarkets getting rid of them.
The self-checkouts?
Yeah.
Oh?
Like, is it Booths? Is it like they've stopped it?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and also, I think, and even Asda might be the one. I might be wrong here, but Asda have reintroduced a slow lane.
Well,
purposely for older people who like to have a chat at checkouts. So you can go to the specifically slow checkout so that you can chat to the lady or the guy on the till whilst you're doing your checkout to give them a bit of company. And they purposely made it the slow lane because people behind used to get, oh, hurry up, love, this and the other. I just want to pay for my sandwich and get going. So I think they've done that because, doing the self-checkout is a little bit kind of, not for everybody.
100%. Well, actually, when I started thinking about this quite a lot, when I was at the self-checkouts, back in the day, the self-checkout, well, it wasn't even a self-checkout, but it was a 10 items or less queue. So if you had 10 items or less in your basket, you could go to this quick lane. Now it's the self-checkouts. But what they've done in Asda now is they've put a sign up saying 20 items or less go to the self-checkouts. So you're technically, if you have more than 20 items, that's classed as a full shop and you have to go to either the bigger checkout, the scan and go, or the where the actual checkout ladies or men are, where they scan your stuff. And then when we've done the Costco run, to get like the crazy juice and everything. And they don't have any self-checkouts. They all get scanned by a human. And it's chaos getting checked out, but at least it's a human experience. So there's a difference in experience by going to them two places. And I found that really interesting. And there's probably pros and cons to it. One, for the supermarkets, it's a cost-cutting exercise, but for the actual user, I think I actually preferred the human element to it. I don't know.
Do you know what? Stupid story about Costco. I would go to Costco and spend a fortune, right, buying bulk items just so I could go and get a hot dog for £1.50. Because I'd sit in their little cafe because those little hot dogs they do are great.
But it's really interesting because with the food counter in Costco, it's not actually a queue anymore. So literally you go up, you pay for what you want on the screen. You get a ticket with a number on. And there's no queue. They just shout random numbers out. And if it's your number, you get your food. And there's literally must be at any given time 50 people standing in this crowd of people waiting for goods.
Which Costco do you go to?
Chester. But I did actually go into Liverpool Costco
Yeah.
On the way back from a client this week.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it a bit more. It's a bit bigger and more spacious.
It feels it out. I know the one you mean, just as you come out the tunnel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just by the dock,
Yeah. Okay, well, so interesting, right? So I've learned, something. Well, I say I learned something. I've been a victim of the new bottle. I mean, the other thing with the bottle cap is, right, what I find now is it gets in the way.
It does.
I mean, I'm constantly having to move it because my nose is hitting the lid and everything else. It's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
I'm literally looking. I can't see this, but I'm literally looking at one now, and it's literally touching my nose.
No, so I get that, right? So that is our there are common sense failures. I dare say I've got another 7 days to come up with a couple more, because there will be times when I'm just as bad as the others. So I think we need to start picking other people's common sense failures.
I definitely think that to every common sense failure there is an element in the opposite that does actually make a little bit of sense. But by doing the common sense thing, something else becomes not common sense.
Yeah. And do you know what? I'm just human, like all of us, right?
Yeah.
And these things happen. Because what was I listening to the other day? And someone was saying that, and I've been a great believer in this, and that is, you only learn from your mistakes. You do not learn from success. If we were brilliant, at doing the podcast, right? And just went, you know what? Yeah, we are the kings of this, right? We're not going to learn anything.
For sure.
Right. But, even now, listeners, we're maybe self-critical too much, but we do at the end of every show. It's like, well, we could have done this better, or how about this? Or, when we're producing it, we can hear things. We think, oh, no, let's try something different. So like Steve, for example, I'm getting him to try and perfect his mic behavior.
Yes.
Because he does tend to move around a lot more. So
I am a bit more animated in the way I speak. I think what the first thing you learn in sort of self-development and all that kind of stuff is you have to have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
And if you're closed off to learning, you're basically hampering yourself in your progress, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been great, and I always ask for people, because some people don't take criticism well.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I'm going, absolutely, you got to, because how am I going to learn?
Yeah.
Right. As long as it's constructive criticism.
I always think there's a fine line between constructive criticism and just basically making someone feel bad.
Oh yeah. If people say, I don't like that.
I always think though, when someone goes out the way to give me like constructive feedback in a nice way, I take it as a compliment in the sense that like someone actually cares enough to give me that feedback. So I always thank them. And one thing that's really served me well, and I think I learned this through being a coach, actually. I'm a coaching background. Being a coach and being coachable is a great thing. Like, I'm the most coachable person in the world. So if anyone goes out the way to give me feedback, I always listen, because that's the knowledge that I need to eke out another 1%.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think you said this to me last week, everything under the sun's already been created.
Yeah.
Everything. So we're not innovators. We are people who are following a blueprint in some way. So there's always someone, unless you're an outlier, like an Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, who's literally an inventor and a creator. Most likely this thing that you're trying to do has already been done in some way. And if you can't learn from that, then literally you are hampering yourself.
I'm going to, before we go into the next segment, I'm just going to touch on something there, because you mentioned Steve Jobs. Because one of the things I used to listen to on him and listen and try and learn from it. I remember him, I saw an interview with him once, and I guess this comes from, I'm putting my sort of business owner's head on here, right? Because I used to say to the staff, I don't mind you making mistakes, right? Just don't keep making the same mistakes, right? Because if you don't make a mistake, you're not learning. But I remember Steve Jobs saying that he when he was a young kid, he befriended this old guy in his street, and he used to cut his grass and everything. So then one day, the old guy took him into his garage. He said, "Come on, look at this." And he said he had this contraption set up. It's like an old soup tin attached to an old rattling motor thing. And he said, just picked up a couple of rocks and said, put these rocks with a little bit of liquid and some grit, and put them into this this can, which was attached through some pulleys to this motor. And they sealed it up, and he went, and they started up, and he could hear this rattling and all the noise and friction, everything else. He says, "Right, come back tomorrow." And so Steve Jobs went away with this thing, making all this noise. And I came back, he says, and opened the tin, and there were these beautifully perfect, rounded stones. They looked gorgeous. And he said, so the point he was trying to make was, you can have that bashing, that making of the noise, that not getting on, that kind of creating a bit of friction for the end goal, right? So in work, and the point I'm trying to make here, I guess, is in work, you're always going to come up against some people that might fight you, that might make a little bit of noise, that you might not get on with, but together you're going to make something great at the end of it, right? So don't be sitting at work and thinking it's just got to be roses and perfect every day, right? Because the only way you're going to make good stuff is by maybe sometimes bashing together, because you might not agree on something.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And usually, it's without getting too political, it's the same in politics, right? It's always kind of, I've got one view, you've got another view.
Yeah.
And usually the resolution is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, don't shout them down. Just because you don't agree with someone, it doesn't mean you have to argue and shout louder than them.
100%.
But this is going to lead me on to this new segment. So everybody, the new segment is...
And now for today's big question.
That's it. We have got this big question. So nice. I am going to pose the big question today, Steve.
Okay.
And this question came about because I was doing a recording this week with someone, and they started off by saying, I don't want to be known as my normal name because I don't want to be easily identified. And I was like, well, okay, that's not going to be a problem. Why? Oh, well, it's just that, I don't want people at work, hearing what I've got to say outside of work and then thinking that, this is my views and blah, 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 and they might, use it against me. I was like, well, okay. I said, but, we're not that we're going to speak about anything controversial. But to me, that sounded like you're scared, right? And also, is that not stifling free speech? So if you're being like that because you're scared of what people might say or scared of being cancelled, right? It just got me thinking, why? And why are people quick to cancel other people? Why can't people listen and appreciate that some people have got an opinion that might not agree with theirs? It doesn't mean you then have to cancel. And I just thought to myself, that just sounds... It's horrible that people are scared of that, right? So it just got me thinking, and I'm going to pose this to you, Steve, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. As someone who is in the social media space, how do you create content or advise customers that what they're doing isn't going to upset a load of people? Or do you even care if it's going to upset them? Because, is this cancel culture still out there?
I think it's getting less. I think this cancel culture is getting less. And less and less and less over time. I always start with values, because when you are acting in line with your values and congruent with your thoughts, words, and actions, we know polarization works. Now, what I always say to clients, to answer your question, Chris, is you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. So if something's an actual fact, like a undisputed fact, you can't argue with that. It's a fact. It's like saying black is black.
But what about these people that sit there and go, yeah, but it's my truth? I think that's just ridiculous, by the way.
It's a ridiculous statement, because there's no such thing as my truth. There's only the truth, right? So there's the truth. What I mean by that is, you can have an opinion about the truth, which is my truth. So I could say, I am a true believer that everybody should post on Instagram every single day. That's not the truth. You don't need to post on Instagram every day. But I can say that's my truth. You don't have to, but it's my truth. In order for you to be successful, you have to post on Instagram every day. Oh, but you 100% you're going to get someone somewhere says, well, I've built a multi-million pound business and I've never posted on Instagram. So there's a polarization there, right? Now, the thing is, in this day and age, well, I suppose for history as well, is polarization works. Outrage works. So having these outrageous opinions and creating polarity in a subject works.
Okay, but let me pose it a different way to you then, right? Or maybe phrase the question a little bit different. If you had someone that had asked you to record them on a podcast, where do you draw the line as to the subject matter?
I typically don't touch religion or politics. Typically, I'm not that I don't have an opinion on it. I just think it's too hostile in opinion and in the world at the moment. So I try to steer away from that. In terms of like subject matter generally, I mean, we talk about common sense failures. We talk about, trending topics, popular news, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's fair game, right? Like, because you can have an opinion, I can have an opinion. We can meet someone in the middle.
Yeah.
We can debate on that all day. And I love that. I love that discourse. If you look at all the popular news outlets now, on mainstream television, online, social media, YouTube, audio, wherever you look, all the debates that you see they're all getting the most views because they're debating, but they're not debating. They're debating their opinions. They're not debating like actual facts. And if they are debating actual facts, either one person's just completely lying in one side of it, or they're just totally misinformed. But I agree with you. There's no such thing as my truth. There's only the truth. Although,
and I really don't want to go on into this, delve it in, but I'm just going to quickly touch on something only because it's been in the news, and that was Diane Abbott and its politics, and she got suspended from the Labour Party, I think, last week because.
How many times has she actually been suspended?
Oh, I have no idea. I think she'll end up in Corbyn's new.
I do as well.
New party, but from what I can gather, she was basically saying that unless you're black, right, then you don't know what racism is, right? And it's like, and so people are like, what do you mean? She's like, well, if you see a Jewish person walking down the street, they're white, right? You don't know they're Jewish based on their color, right? So they could walk past you and you wouldn't know that they're Jewish, right? So if you've got any views against them, you wouldn't know. She says, but a black person, before you get close up to them, you can see them, and then you form your views on them because of their color. And that, I'm not going to go into what I think about that, but I mean, I can understand and see why people get a little bit, because I'm dating a Chinese lady, right? So I know what it's like, right, from that perspective. And I did think it was a little bit kind of like, well, so are you basically saying that people, unless you're black, you don't know what racism's like? And I just thought that's quite a polarizing comment.
Well, it is a polarizing comment, and we can disagree with that.
Yeah.
Or we can agree with it.
Yeah.
What I would say with this is, again, without going too deep into it, I was listening to a debate at some point this week or last week. At some point this week or last week, I was listening to a debate at some point this week or last week where there was a white woman, and she implicitly said that she's never felt uncomfortable in a lift or elevator with a black or Asian man, but they have with a white man. Which, if you'd have said that about the black man or the Asian man, there would have been absolute outrage. Because you said it about the white man, it's a free pass. To me, when you say something like that, what you end up with is a group of white men who've done absolutely nothing wrong. Boys, teenagers growing up, thinking they're doing something wrong. they don't want to approach girls because they fear they're going to get cancelled or whatever. So I actually disagree with Diana Abbas on that.
Well, also, and it doesn't help, I guess. And again, I don't want to go down this topic because you end up opening a whole big can of worms.
No,
and certain people get upset. But you have people like, but as a white middle-aged guy, right? What I don't like is that people will label me as white privileged. And I'm going, what do you mean white privilege? I've had to work hard to where I've got to.
Exactly.
But you're perceived as being privileged because of your colour. And I think I saw, and it doesn't help, I saw a clip of Coldplay. So Chris Martin, when he was in India, at the start of the concert or partway through the concert, apologised for being Chris Martin, right? Because he's white and privileged, and he was in India. And you kind of sit there and you think, why are you doing that? Yeah. Why? Because you're just fueling it.
Yeah, and you disenfranchise a whole group of people. So you look like I've got two young boys. They're going to grow up. I don't want them to think they're going to have to work hard to get whatever they want out of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not helping the fact that, like, if they go through the teenagers thinking they're doing something wrong, one, how are they ever going to meet women? Two, how are they ever going to get on? How they're going to get hampered in opportunities because other people get opportunities over them because people are making them believe that they're advances in some way. Now, I would argue that anyone of a similar background, no matter what heritage, black, Asian, Chinese, whatever, would have the same opportunity, like in our sort of local area anyway. Now, I actually had this conversation with someone. I don't know enough about it, so I don't want to say something that's wrong. And I'm open to be educated on this. Like, and I look at it, we're looking at building a team in the concert room, getting video editors. It would always be based on merit. So, I heard Charlie Kirk talking about this in America. If you go to the basketball league, it's 90% black.
Yeah.
Because it's merit, right?
Yeah,
you don't have an obligation to have white people or Asian people. It's just based on the best players. Just happen to be black. If it was white, it'd be the other way around. So if you end up with a team of white men on merit, does that make us like hampered opportunities for other? I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I remember, and again, I don't know enough about this, right? But I do remember that Loose Women, is it the TV show? They made a big thing about all of the panelists being black on one show and celebrating it. And I don't know. I mean, when I was employing people, I would always do it on merit, right? And I employ a lot of diverse people, and I think I don't see. This is me. I don't, and I'll probably say the wrong thing when I say I don't see colour. If you know what I mean. I don't look at someone and go, oh, you're because you're black or Asian or whatever. Therefore, this, that, and the other. I always look at their merits. Right? And I think we should everybody, just treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't happen, but that's where I wish we could all be there.
It's the Women's European Football Championships at the moment. And about 6 months ago, Eni Aluko, who was the black footballer for England, who's now retired, she mentioned something about Ian Wright in the news, that Ian Wright didn't deserve to be on the panel because he was a man and he's a black man. And it turned out that she ended up getting let go because her comments were absolutely outrageous. And I don't know whether it was like a publicity stunt or, whatever it was, but it was absolutely outrageous. Now, if you look at like actual equality, if you were a black man or an Asian man or an Asian woman or black woman, you wouldn't want to get a position just based on the fact that you're a black man or Asian man or woman, whatever. You'd want it based on merit, right?
Yeah,
you want
absolutely.
it based on, like, that's true equality. It's not just a case of having one person from every ethnicity on a panel because it should be based on merit.
Yeah, I mean, because you do see some programs that you sit and think, oh God, it's diversity gone wrong.
Like if you look at a punditry panel on a sport, let's say football, for example, you look at and it's all women on the women's. That's not equality, right? That's not what they're striving for. If it's all men on the men's one, that's not equality because it's not what they're striving for. equality to me is a quality of outcome. So it's like, are you the best person to do that particular thing? And if you are, then great. And you will be based on the merit of that, and you will end up where you end up.
I totally agree. Now that means the big question kind of went off a little bit in terms of.
Do you know what? Like, it's a real, and I'm open to learn stuff about this because I'm not proclaiming to know everything. It's just what I know.
Well, and I think, let's open this up, right? So people out there, if you want or have got a subject, the big question that you want us to discuss, then ping us an email or drop us a text. Our contact details are.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number.
So get in touch. Let us know what your thoughts are, and if got something for the big question, we'll discuss it. Anyway, let's loosen it up a little bit because the new feature I tried last week, which was Two Become One. Well, let me do the intro, everybody. So,
where two become one. 2 songs, 1 common link.
So in last week's episode, I literally did a very quick snippet of 2 songs, and everyone kept telling me that's really hard, because it was like, the first kind of like bar of one song and another, and you had to guess A, the artist and the song, and then B, the link between them, and it was a little bit obscure, and it was quite tough. And I haven't preempted Steve at this. I'm looking at him now. This is going to be the first time he's now heard the new edition. So this is this week's Two Become One. You ready, Steve?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Now it's a little bit longer. Right? So, do you know, first off, what those 2 tracks are?
I think I got the second.
Shall I play it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it. But what's the tune? And who was it?
And the first one is...
Play again. I've got him on this one again.
You've got me on this one. I'm going to kick myself when I hear this. I can't think of the name for the life of me.
On either of them. So just give you a clue. One is from the 60s and one is from the 90s.
It's not Vindaloo, is it?
Nope.
It's not Vindaloo.
No. To me, it's got to be one of their best tracks of the 90s.
Yeah.
They're still going today.
Are they?
Yeah. They were an 80s band. One last play.
Oh, this is literally gonna kill me.
So listeners, I can let him sweat over this now, and he's gonna have to think about it. But for you, you've got a week to think about it. Again, text us, message us, let us know what you think it is. There's no prizes yet. You never know if we get a good sponsor. They might be able to sponsor us to give stuff away. So it's just literally going to be your street cred. And getting announced and the name check on here. But yeah, get in touch.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number.
So your last chance. Any ideas?
I literally know these songs. And I cannot for the life of me place them.
Do you know what? That's 2 out of 2. I win.
You
That's
do.
Twice now. I've beaten him.
One day I'm going to give one to you and you're never going to get it.
Right.
By the way, is there a link between these songs?
Yeah, of course there is.
Yes.
There's always got to be a link between them.
Okay.
There's always a link. So not only have you got to guess the songs, the reason why they are there is because there is a genuine link between
nice.
them.
Okay. Fair.
So some people might get that link, and when I play you what the answer is at the end of the show, you'll be like, "Oh man, I can't believe that." Right, so we are coming to the end of this show. Steve, anything else you want to say?
No, all good, mate. great week. Lots of food for thought for the coming week. Some big decisions to be made over the next weeks.
What have you got to look forward to next week? What's on the plan?
I've got a podcast in next week. I've got some content days in next week. Loads of cool stuff coming up. And what my plan is to do some actual business building.
Okay.
Some real sort of, got some big plans. Time to really execute.
Building up that sales funnel.
Yeah, I really want to build a pipeline, and I really want to make the next 6 months of the business a really, really prosperous one.
Now, you're also a proud dad.
I am.
School holidays.
So
isn't that coming up now?
it's first week this week.
Yeah.
I think school holidays should be abolished.
Oh no! I love the school holidays.
I'm only messing. No, do you know what it is? It's because we're in work. My missus is still on maternity leave, so that's all good.
Okay, that's not bad.
So it's not bad.
Can I ask what the missus does?
She works for Santander.
Oh, okay.
But she's in the middle of redundancy, so that's a bit of a bummer. But you know what? Every time I've been made redundant 3 times in my life.
God,
hence why I run my own business.
Yeah.
So just without going too deep into it, in the 2008 recession, I was made redundant for the first time.
Yeah.
And up to that point, the kind of thing that you get from school and your parents is, get a 9 to 5, get into a good job. I was doing architecture, so I was doing it for about 5 years.
Wow.
Just over 5 years. And it was great. Like, learning architecture, working in an office, great job. Better than average pay to what, comparable to what my sort of peers were at the same age. And all was good with the world. Just wasn't for me. Yeah. So I've got nothing, I love architecture, I love all that stuff, but just wasn't my thing. And I kind of, subconsciously, I kind of knew it all along.
Right.
And then in the 2000 recession, when I was made redundant, because I was there just over 5 years, I got a little bit of a payout. And when I say a little bit of a payout, I mean £3,500. So it wasn't massive money, but it was to me because I was living at home with mum and dad. I didn't have any overheads, didn't have any kids. £3,500, happy days, balling out of control and £3,500. Anyway, it made me realise at that point, at 21, 22 years old, that the safe 9 to 5 that you were made to believe was the way to get the keys to success wasn't that safe.
Yeah.
And every time I've had my back against the wall in a tricky spot, that's when I've performed at my best. And
you know what? I think we should reserve this for the next big question.
Yeah.
Question of the day, and that is about doing what you want to do, right? And this whole thing around security, job security, because there was that time. I actually heard, and I'm just going to have a big shout out to Ozzy Osbourne, who died this week, and also Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I can't believe Hulk's there. One of my childhood heroes, though.
And you know what? These guys, I don't know if it's because I'm older than you, so I'm 57, and these guys were 76 and 71, and I think to myself, wow, that's not far away from me. Right? That's not far away. And you sit there and think, oh my God. And I remember a quote, I think it might have been Bono, because I was listening to Radio Wales this morning, and Jules Peters, who's the wife of Mike Peters, who died a few months back, she was on doing an interview, and she mentioned that Bono had called Mike just before he died, and said to Mike, you know what, Mike, when you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. Right?
True story.
And since I started this podcasting, right, which I absolutely love, and I started it 5 years ago, and I sit there and as much as my other half goes, just get out there and start earning money and this, that, I do this because I love doing it, right? I love doing it, right? And if I could become a millionaire from it, I would love it. I think it's quite tough. Right, from that perspective, but I love doing it. So I am a great advocate of doing something that you love, but unfortunately, and this again, part of the big question is sometimes you can't always do that because you do still need to pay the bills.
Some people will say follow your passion, just find what your passion is and monetize it, and that makes logical sense, right?
It does until you hit that monetized thing.
It does. So it comes to having to pay bills, responsibilities.
Yeah.
So for me, my advice to people always is, do something that makes you money, even if it's a really boring business model.
Yeah, but how many people, therefore, and I reckon this will be quite a high number, how many people are doing what they do just because it pays the bills?
I've got some guy,
they love doing it.
One of my really good mates, he runs a sign company, so he does web print design, signs, does really well.
Is that West Lancs?
West Lancs Marketing, yeah. Good guy, Dan.
He's a bit of a character.
Big time. He'd be good on the podcast. Very outspoken. Very outspoken. He's just invested into a balloon arch company.
Oh, what?
A balloon arch. So,
a balloon arch?
Balloon arch.
Oh, right. So, okay,
so balloon arches, flower arrangements, sort of baby shower decor. And I'm thinking to myself, he's clever there because it's definitely not his passion. It's definitely not something you would place him to do. But it's boring. It's a boring business model. And I'm fascinated. This is for another podcast. I am fascinated by boring business models. And actually, if you want to get started, start with a boring business model, one that just churns money out. So an example of this could be a car park. Buy a plot of land, make a car park. Cash flows straight away. Boring. I know a guy who had a fashion label, sold it, and with the money that he sold the fashion label for, I think he sold the fashion label to Very, and then with the money he bought a building, made it into a storage unit, and on the storage units he's got one guy who works 9 to 5 who kind of monitors the place, and if you go onto his website and you want to use the storage, you get a PIN code to let yourself in. PIN codes to lock your thing up, and it's all security, and then there's one guy who works for him 9 to 5, and if anything goes wrong in the day, he's there to sort of help you out, and then overnight you're basically PIN coded in the house. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So he's got this business model where one person works for him. He's got a company that cash flows all the time because you can literally, it's all automated because you can go online, get your PIN code, lay yourself in, lay yourself out. All your stuff is secure. It's all on you because they're not handling any gear. And he's got one guy who works for him, just kind of maintains the operation all day. That's it. And I think boring business models are a great stepping stone to get started. And when you do monetize them, that's when you can follow your passion.
Yeah, and so my working career, 35 years, I was in IT, right? And that was a passion because I loved it, right? And I stumbled into it, and thank God I ended up doing something I love doing, and that enabled me to do what I'm doing now. Right?
Exactly.
But yeah, interesting one because I hear people saying they want to do something, and you think that's a great idea, but how are you going to earn any money from it?
Yeah, I mean, me and you have been talking the last few weeks about monetizing the podcast, being totally open and transparent, and we're figuring it out, right? Like it's not something that we're just going, right, we do this. It's not a logical sequence of orders. It's something that we've got to navigate and figure out.
It's not like, and again, I'm going to mention it, having a top 20 podcast doesn't earn you any money, right? Not through plays, because, unlike YouTube where you get paid when you hit 1 million views and all that kind of stuff, you can be a top 20 podcast, have listeners around the world and you make no money.
For sure.
Right? The only way you're going to make money is through sponsorships and adverts.
Yeah.
Right? So
absolutely.
Again, shout out to everybody. If you want to get involved and have your name blasted all over the place, who knows? We could be a top 20 podcast again. But yeah, get involved. But anyway, look, Steve, it's been great again.
Thanks so much, pal.
Up for it again next week?
Absolutely. Always.
See you later, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
Brought to you by Funky Bear Productions. Follow us on our socials at Funky Bear Productions.
To get in touch, leave us a WhatsApp voice note on +44 7503 061 799. That's +44 7503 061 799. Or text us on the same number. Where we take your business from where it is to where it should be.